In this video, I'll be explaining the filmed ninja scroll. Jubai, a wandering ex-Yamashiro ninja, crosses a bridge but is ambushed by a rival ninja group for undercutting them on their previous mission. He dispatches them quickly while munching a rice ball. The only conscious attacker, now half-naked, is perplexed by how little he charged the customer given his skill level. They didn't have the money, so Jubai considered them. A severe storm begins to form as he exits the bridge. As the storm worsens, 8 dark-haired horsemen make their way to the cliff's edge to inspect something. Shimoda village, coincidentally, has been devastated by a pandemic. Except for a young woman, it has killed all of the residents. She walks like a zombie and makes her way to a nearby town to notify them of the mass death. She appears to be under the grip of a shadowy person. She passes out and dies after delivering the message. There's some shady behavior going on here. The surrounding villages fled for their lives, terrified. The next day, Hanza, the Mushizuki clan's chamberlain, informs Sakaki, the clan's leader, that the ominous horsemen were spotted near Shimoda the night before the viral spread. He directs Hanza and the rest of the Koga team to conduct an investigation. Kunoichi Kajiro interrupts their meeting and expresses her desire to participate in the mission. Hanza is opposed to the plan because she is their lord's poison tester. She wants to resume her ninja responsibilities because their lord is already awake. Hanza agrees, but hesitantly. The crew departs but is slaughtered by Tessai and Urimaru before reaching the village. Hanza is severely hurt but asks Kajiro to go to Sakai and report the situation. Tessai apprehends her as she attempts to flee. He brings her back to their camp and becomes a little too tactile. Jubai interrupts, pretending to be lost, and annoys the monster. He slashes his eye with a knife, allowing both him and Kajiro to flee. Tessai, now irritated, prepares to pursue, but Urimaru instructs him to stop. Meanwhile, an elderly man named Daquan Tokugawa observes Jubai from a distance. The two identify themselves now that they are no longer in danger. Kajiro expresses gratitude to her rescuer as they separate ways. When she is finally alone, she lets go of her tough front, breaking down and crying. She informs the chamberlain of the massacre. He tells her to return to the village on her own to gather additional information before he slaughters more people. Meanwhile, Tessai is on the hunt for Jubai. The brute's superhuman power to harden his body renders Jubai's strikes ineffectual. His rock-hard physique begins to crack as the conflict continues. The vagrant takes advantage of the situation and slices him, allowing his own sword to finish him out. Tessai tries to crush the ninja's face to bring him down as well, but he escapes. Daquan is taken aback. Daquan tries to recruit him with his swordsmanship, but Jubai is uninterested. Tessai was a member of the infamous ninja team known as the 8 Devils of Kimen, according to the elderly spy. If one of their members dies, they will undoubtedly pursue him. Urimaru informs Ginma, another member of the Devil's crew, about their progress. Sakuro, another member, declares her love for Urimaru while attempting to seduce him. He quickly ends the nonsense, warns her, and dismisses her to stand guard. Tessai's colleagues investigate the site of the conflict after it has ended. Tessai got an impression of Jubai's face when he grabbed him, she discovered. She uses this to follow him down to a hot spring where he's taking care of his injuries. She utilizes her snake powers to enchant him. A stray shuriken strikes Jubai as he prepares to deal the final bite, causing him to come to his senses. He quickly repels the attack and apprehends Benisato, but she escapes by shedding her skin. He returns the shuriken to Daquan, who throws it. The spy continues his report, informing Jubai that the Shovan of the Dark employs the 8 devils. He intends to rebuild the house of Toyotomi, Japan's former monarch. He tries to recruit Jubai again, but this time he offers 100 gold pieces in exchange for his services. Because the devil has killed everyone else in his group, he desperately needs powerful assistance. Jubai is still undecided about joining. He discloses that he reveals that he poisoned the shuriken that would kill him soon when he had no other choice. He is the only one who has the antidote. When the job is finished, he promises to give him the antidote and the 100 gold pieces. Jubai is compelled to join in order to know the antidote. They travel by boat to their destination. Jubai discovers that the devil's commander is Himuro Ginma. He was also Jubai's ex-boss and the former Yamashiro ninja chief. They discovered their clan's secret gold mine 5 years before. Ginma directed his team members to murder one another in order to cover it up. Jubai was compelled to murder his companions to survive. Outraged, he exacted his vengeance by assassinating his team leader, and he is astounded that he is still alive. Genma has mastered rebirth by manipulating his body down to the smallest bone. A heavy fog separates Daquan and Jubiai once they land. Shirjima and Benisato seize the initiative and start an attack. Kajiro gets into the scene and repays Jubiai's debt by cornering Benisato. She's been bitten, but she manages to apprehend Benisato. Urameru kills her from afar before she can be interrogated, owing to her constant failure. Jubiai tries to suck the poison off Kajiro's leg but is hit in the face with her knee. Her body is loaded with lethal chemicals, making her resistant to them. Anyone who kisses her or has sexual intercourse with her is killed. That is how Jubiai was able to assassinate Tessai. Daquan persuades Kajiro to join them because they share an enemy. The ragged ninja team arrives at Shimoda village. They realize the villagers have been poisoned after an investigation. The outbreak was utilized as a ruse to keep people away. Mashizo, a member of the Devil's Army, then dispatches a swarm of killer hornets to silence the trio. While Jubiai hunts for and kills Mashizo, Kajiro holds the hornets at bay. Daquan leaves them as a couple, with the devil's attention now on the ninja. The poison has begun to spread throughout Jubiai's body. They make their way to higher ground to better view the surroundings. They notice Hanza walking towards the edge of a cliff. Kajiro runs to her colleague, only to see him mutilated. Jubiai notices Sakuro, which sets off a charge. As Hanza erupted, he helped Kajiro. As they pull themselves from the cliff, the duo nearly escapes. Mujuro awaits them at the top, where he challenges Jubiai to a duel. Mujuro, despite being blind, is a skilled fighter, yet he is defeated by the vagabond. Jubiai and Kajiro have a minor dispute, which escalates the situation. They notice a shipwreck during the storm from the high ground. Because the cargo on board was so important, they slaughtered the residents in the village to prevent information from leaking. Kajiro faints from exhaustion. They relax for a while before following some tracks to Kashima Harbor. Offshore, the Dark Shogun's ninjas are preparing to move. The three reunite at Kashima, but the town is deserted owing to the fabricated pandemic. Daquan discloses that the rare cargo is gold from the Yamashiro clan's secret mine and that it was on its way to the Black Shovan. With that much gold, they would be powerful enough to destabilize the current government and plunge the country into civil war. Shirjima launches a surprise strike while they are discussing it. Kajiro swiftly returns this information to Sakaki via bird. Jubiai injures Shirjima, causing him to escape. Jubiai pursues him with the intent of killing him. Kajiro, meanwhile, confronts Daquan about the poison he used on Jubiai. She's madly in love with him. When the old spy notices this, he informs her that she must have relations with him to counteract the poison. Shirjima employs a fox as a decoy to entice Jubiai away. He returns to kidnap Kajiro. Jubiai goes against Daquan's counsel and goes to save his new friend. The kidnapper manipulates Kajiro to attack Jubiai, but it is released when he is slain. She is perplexed as to why he came knowing the trap was set. She is moved by this and informs Jubiai that the only way he may be cured is to have intercourse with her. She offers herself, but he merely embraces her like a gentleman before walking away like a gentleman. Daquan and Jubiai stand at the pier, watching as the Black Shogun's men begin loading the gold into the ship like an army of ants. Because there are too many of them, they devise a plot to sink the ship. Daquan inquires as to whether he performed the deed with Kajiro to spare his life. He tosses him aside like trash and tells him to get into position. Based on a report, Kajiro exposed herself to meeting with them. Genma, in disguise, stabs her. He assassinated Sakaki and his soldiers to mimic them. Jubiai observes everything, and in a fit of wrath, he slaughters a ridiculous amount of enemies. Urameru begs Genma to give him the honor of killing Jubiai, and Genma agrees. He ambushes the ninja, but he extricates himself before a gunpowder-rigged rat explodes. Urameru is killed by the explosion because he cannot flee in time. It was set up by Sakuro as a punishment for Urameru not accepting her offer. With all the gold on board, the devil's leader instructs them to set sail. Meanwhile, Jubiai discovers Kajiro is on the verge of death. She expresses her feelings for him. They kiss passionately, which cures his poisoning. She also gives him her headband before dying of her wounds. After burying her, he boards the sailing ship by riding his horse into the water. On board, Genma confesses his true intention to use the gold to raise a ninja to terrorize the country rather than collaborate with the wicked shogun. He then goes on to assassinate the shogun's representative. The ragged crew doused Sakuro in flammable oil and lit her ablaze on deck, resulting in a massive explosion. Genma and Jubiai engage in a fierce fight as everyone jumps overboard. Jubiai can only halt Genma by cutting him into the molten gold encasing him due to his remarkable healing. Along with the ship, he sinks to the bottom of the sea. Daquan expresses gratitude to his companion for averting a civil war. Jubiai returns to his wandering life with Kajiro's headband fastened to the hilt of his sword as a memento.